What's up, gamers? Welcome to episode 19 of the Busted Buttons video game podcast. Today, we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about topics that we actually missed out on last week, including the big story in gaming news right now, and that's some of these sexual harassment, sexual assault complaints that are coming out against streamers, developers, everybody. And then we're also going to talk about the budgets that it costs to develop AAA games. Also, the president of Nintendo gave a shareholder interview or a shareholder meeting a little bit ago. We're going to talk about the topics he discussed there. And speaking of Nintendo, we're going to talk a little bit about who we consider to be some of the most iconic video game characters of all time. Hopefully we'll have enough time where we want to talk a little bit about one of those iconic video game characters, Master Chief, because we got a little bit of news about the live-action Halo adaptation that's coming out. But before we get to any of those topics, let's start with something fun. The Steam Summer Sale is going on right now. My wallet is already crying because it's been tapped out. So this is your first time since you got into PC gaming that you've run into one of these big Steam sales. What have you bought so far?
I bought so far. Let's see, I bought Mass Effect. Thanks a lot. That's all because of you right there. I had no plans whatsoever of buying it. And then there's a point we'll talk about later on with price, but had no plans. I saw it and I was like, oh, well, Red likes this one, so I'll buy this one. But so Mass Effect, Planet Coaster, which I'm very excited about. I was looking at, no, I think it was that one. There's that also, I believe, Roller Coaster Tycoon out there. Yep. But you know what? This one was on sale, so I bought this one. And
Makes an easy decision, right?
Tomb Raider. I've never played Tomb Raider. I've always wanted to get into those games. You know, they gave me a price. I could just not resist that price that they gave me. And then Witcher 1 and 2, played 3, my favorite game ever. Really didn't have too many plans on playing 1 and 2, just... You know, it's kind of a time thing, and those games are older. I really don't like to go back and play older games because they just look, unless it's a really, really good game. But for like $1, $2, man. I'll buy them. And then I also bought 2 Wolfenstein games, the New Order, and I believe maybe it's the New Colossus. Is that correct?
Yep.
But, you know, that's what I bought so far. I believe this stupid thing goes until July 9th, which is like 7 more days. So, man, there's no telling what else I might buy.
You're absolutely screwed.
Yeah, but because I'm sitting there like I don't know what a lot of the franchises are, so I could easily buy more games. You know, I have too many beers. I could also buy some games that way. But so far, it's how many is that? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I bought 9 games. I bought 9 fucking games so far.
That backlog grew really quick, didn't it?
And I believe I don't know the exact price, but it was maybe under $75 and. I kind of let you talk about what you bought, but, I've heard about this sale from you for a while and from other people too. And what it kind of does is now I have to get into PC gaming because I have all these games I didn't spend a lot of money on, but they are there now. And so I have no choice to get into PC gaming. So good job by Steam, saying, hey, we're going to put out a massive sale and we're going to make you all PC gamers. So for me, very exciting time. I've seen some good deals on Xbox and PlayStation. Definitely not Nintendo. Fuck you, Nintendo. You don't ever have sales.
No, but if a game's $45, it's a sale for them. Jesus.
But there's been some good ones that I've seen, especially with them having the subscription where the prices are even lower than on sale. But I've never seen sales like this, man. Like, this is crazy, and the amount of games they have is just absolute crazy. So
it is.
When you're talking about it being a lot of fun, it's a lot of fun, and it doesn't hit the wall too hard. But, man, that backlog jumps up. But go ahead, kind of talk about the games that you've bought so far.
Well, before jumping into what I bought, I will say I think you've made some amazing choices. I've played Mass Effect. If you see me on Twitter, I still talk about it's one of my all-time favorite video game series. A couple of my tattoos are from that series. It's 1 and 2 especially are just absolutely amazing. 3, the ending, you've heard me bitch about that before. We won't go into that. Planet Coaster, I think you'll really like because that's the type of stuff that the PC gaming is for, like the mouse and keyboard for building. Whether it's a amusement park or you get like the Civilization or the Sim City games, things like that, where you're designing something. I think that's what PC gaming is really meant for. Those Tomb Raider reboots, man, they are really good. I've played Tomb Raider and Rise of the Tomb Raider both. Absolutely love them both. Yep, and if you like the Uncharted games,
I do.
It's a lot. Obviously, you like them. That's a dumb thing for me to say. I know you love them. It's very similar in style, like the environments, the adventuring, the platforming, but they have a little bit of a darker, more serious tone to them, I think, than the Uncharted games. Witcher, obviously, we're both massive fans of Witcher 3. Witchers 1 and 2 are definitely a little older, like you said. The controls for the first one haven't necessarily aged well, but I feel like they overhauled the controls every single game from 1 to 2 to 3. So, I mean, once you get used to them, it should be fine.
Yeah.
2 was an amazing game. I loved Witcher 2, and it really shows how you can design a game where the choices you make drastically alter what happens throughout the game. There's a point fairly early on that entirely dictates like which kind of direction you go for the middle third of the game, and you almost have to play it twice to experience both sides of it. It's really cool. And then the Wolfenstein games, the new ones, I think they rebooted it back in 15 or 16, something like that. And they're both amazing. Great first-person shooters, fun stories, really over-the-top action. It's kind of similar to Doom in that regard, but maybe with a little bit stronger story to them. So I got to applaud your purchases, especially for the prices. When you first showed me those, I'm like, man, those are some finds, because I loved every one of the ones that you bought that I've played. I absolutely loved. So now kind of switching gears to what I bought, I actually pulled the trigger on a couple of sequels. I bought Divinity Original Sin 2 and Pillars of Eternity 2, which are both kind of like the top-down isometric computer RPG style games, going back to like the Baldur's Gate days, Dragon Age, that kind of RPG. And I actually have the first of both those games, but haven't even played them.
So is it like Zelda, or is it not like Link to the Past?
No,
is it something like that or not?
No, it's more like party-based role-playing game. So like you can like pause the action, and you usually have a party of up to like 5 or 6 people at the same time that you're controlling all at once. And you can like pause the action to assign various actions to your characters, and then they go in turn based on certain underlying stats. So it's really like, it's all based on like the Dungeons and Dragons tabletop role-playing game, like the pen and paper, dice rolling, all that, just converted over into computer game form. So I have the first version of both those games. I have Divinity Original Sin 1 and Pillars of Eternity 1, and I haven't even played them yet. So why the hell I went ahead and bought the sequels, I don't know. I've heard amazing.
I bought the sequels when I bought the first games, man.
Right.
So you're sitting here, at least like I guess you've had them for a while. No, I just bought them at the same time. And I would have bought Mass Effect 3 if it was on sale also.
So I got those. I'm excited to try them out. I've always kind of sucked at those kind of RPGs. Like, they're not my strong suit, but I've heard great things about them. I'm trying to get better at them. I think they'll be a lot of fun once I get there. I bought a game called Pyre, which is like another kind of party-based adventure game. It's more of an indie game, though, and it's from the same guys that did Bastion and Transistor, which I loved both those games. So Pyre was kind of a no-brainer. I think it was like $4 or something. So,
yep.
And then I randomly bought Jurassic World Evolution, which you get to build your own Jurassic World theme park. So kind of like with you with Planet Coaster, I'm like, yeah, I'll build a dinosaur theme park. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Definitely.
So that's all I bought so far. I mean, my backlog, I've gone through several of these Steam sales. My backlog is stupid enough as it is. And I was like, and a lot of the games like that you got for those amazing prices I've already have or already played. So far this sale hasn't hit me too hard, but I was happy to pick up a couple of those sequels. But, you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier about the price. And I got to say, sometimes those games just hit that impulse buy price point where even if a game may not be rated or reviewed that highly, you're still like, oh, for $4, $5, it's almost, you got to pull the trigger on it. So
I mean, that's definitely how I look at it. Like $5 is kind of my impulse buy. Like if I said, now I'm not gonna go around buying every game that's under $5 because
hell no,
that will add up quickly. But if there's a solid game or a game that I've heard of, or I know that other people have played that I might like, if it's under $5, I'm, like I said, not gonna buy every single one, but I'm probably going to buy it. 10 is a good range, not really an impulse buy with me, but if I see a good game for 10, like, I'll usually buy it. And like 15, like $14.99, that is my breaking point. Like, I usually will not go up that high. And here's the crazy thing. Like, in real life, there's not that big of a difference, at least for me, between like $14 and $11. It's like, it's $3. Like, I really just don't care. But man, when it comes to game sales, I don't really get, it's not cheap that I get, but I just get really like picky, man. Because like, to me, there's a huge difference for some weird reason between an $11 game, let's say $11.99, $12 game and a $15 game, and I'll only go up to $15 like if it's a really, really good game, and like really past
or
that
a newer
for
game.
sales,
Maybe if it's a newer game, then sometimes that $15, it's a little more appealing. But anyway, go ahead.
But like other than that, I mean, unless it's a game I really, really want to play, I'm not going to go over that $15 mark. But a lot of games that I've purchased have been under that $10 mark, and some of them have been under $5. Like I said, The Witcher was like $1 and $2, which is just ridiculous for a game like that. That is just absolutely ridiculous. Both of the Tomb Raider games, which I know are very good, were under $10.
Yep.
So it's just like I said. I know I've heard people talk about these sales, but here comes. If you're not into PC gaming, take a chance, get into PC gaming now, because I just got into it recently. And I was kind of back and forth at the beginning. Now I'm pretty much like, okay, yeah, I do want to go forward.
Yep.
I might bring up a point later on. Might not. I don't know. But then like when this first sale hit and I saw like what you could get for the prices, I was like I said, this now, like I'm going to get into PC gaming because you just can't beat deals like this.
You really can't. And you know what? All these podcast episodes and all the times on Discord that you've bitched at me for being cheap and not spending money. Here you are talking about $15 being your damn make or break point, and you give me shit all the time for being cheap. I'm telling you, man, Steam sales ruin me for buying games at full price. I mean, for me to now buy a game at full price, either A, it's got to be a Nintendo game because it's always going to be at full price because they don't ever fucking do sales, or B, it's got to be something that I want day one, and there's very few games out there that I'm like must have day one. I think the last one I did was probably Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I'm a huge Star Wars whore, so that was a day one for me. But man, so now do you understand why I've always been like, I don't want to pay full price for this shit?
Yeah, but it's not, like I said, I don't look at it as being cheap because the difference for me is not really, like $15 to $12 is not a big difference. But for me, it's like, well, if I buy this game at $12 instead of $15, you know what, I can buy this other game that I might not have bought, which I guess, like, you get more games for the same price, sort of in like, a theory way.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I kind of do I do understand it now. Like, there is that point where, like, when you see a deal that crazy, you're just like, I'm not going to spend like more than this on a game unless I really want it, because I know there's all these other games out here that are going to be lower. So, like I said, I don't really look at it as cheap. It's kind of just, I don't really know what the theory or fundamentals is behind it, but I can tell you that the feeling is real and it is there. And it's just like, you get snobby, man. You just get really snobby. Really oh, $15 game? No, I'm not going to buy a $15 game. Oh, but $12. Oh, well, that's a deal right there.
Yeah.
I'll take
that was me looking at like Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm like, only 20% off? What the hell? I'm not buying that. I know next year it'll be 80% off.
Yep. And that's the other thing, man. You got to look at those percentages, because that also says something right there. Like, if you see a game that's like 80 or 85%, you're like, wow, that's almost a steal right there. So
it really is.
That might be one that I buy at $15 just because I know, hey, it's 85% off. This is quite, actually, I don't know if that's the math that actually works out on that. Like a $60 game, 85% off. Might be cheaper than that. I don't know, people. I don't have a freaking calculator. I work with numbers, but I'm on vacation, so I'm not doing fucking numbers this week. So
get your Excel spreadsheet out. Come on.
Yeah, so whatever the calculation is, that's the price. 75. I think what I usually buy is usually 75 to 85% off. Like, those are just deals. Man, those are hard to beat.
It's just too good to pass up. It really
and like I said, like, we'll kind of get off of this because we've been going on for a while, but I mean, this thing, like, I don't know the exact end date. I want to say it's like July 9th or 10th.
I think it is the 9th, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, man. I'm probably going to buy more. Like, I just need to look.
You're still on vacation, so I know you're getting drunk tonight.
I just need to look into, like, because there's a lot of franchises, like I said, there's a lot of franchises I just don't know what they are. I kind of got to look into what I want to play, then go out there and see the deals, but oh man, that Steam sale, that's something else, man. That's what I needed. That's what everybody needed in this shitty year of 2020 so far.
Yep.
But kind of with that out of the way, let's kind of hit on some topics that we wanted to talk about last week. Yeah. And I know the main one was all this sexual harassment, assault that we hear about going on in the gaming industry. Just really, very sad. I mean, we know about this because we've seen it with so many businesses, but it's still very sad. Like, every time you hear about it, so you kind of just want to jump into that and like kind of give your opinions on everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, and first and foremost, I mean, we're not the most qualified people in the world to talk about some of this stuff. So we're, trying not to offend or, do anything like that. But man, at the end of the day, sexism, sexual harassment, sexual assault, I don't care what the industry is, it's bad. Don't fucking do it, people. And it seems like it shouldn't be a hard concept, but like you said, this almost every industry here has just been slammed with it, and now gaming has really taken off here recently, and it's against a lot of content creators, YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and also the actual developers. People in the industry developing these games are unfortunately using their positions of influence and positions of power to try to do that, get that sex, and it's I really just say get that sex.
Yeah, you did.
Wow. Anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to make light of any of this, but Jesus, that was bad on my part. But people using their positions to gain favors, it's just it's a sad situation. I'm happy for the people that are speaking out. I mean, these people have been hurt, have been, insulted, have been, assaulted, harassed. And for them to finally be speaking out, I think is a very good thing. Hopefully it will improve the industry moving forward is all we can hope for. I know Twitch has come out and they're investigating accusations against Twitch streamers. They're talking about doing permanent bans, things like that, which I think is a great first step. Get these people out of the public eye. Don't give them a platform. And then in the development territory, you've had a couple of big name ones. You had a guy, Chris Avalon, who's been, if I pronounce that right, has been writing video games for a long time, and he's been fired. One of the lead creative people on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, one of the biggest upcoming games, stepped down because of accusations, and I cannot pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. But it's just unfortunate because sexism and this kind of behavior, I feel like has been bad in gaming for a very long time, because for the longest time it was a very male dominated industry. Like, I mean, going back to like arcade days and things like that, it's always been a strongly male dominated industry. So unfortunately, when that's the case, this kind of stuff rears its ugly head. And I'm glad people are speaking out about it. I think the awareness and the actions that are being taken are a great first step. And I swear I'll stop and let you talk at some point. I know I've been going on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it just says somebody that has 3 daughters, like, you hate to hear something like this. And I do agree with you. It's good that women, I mean, I guess it's mostly women, but I guess it could be males too.
Could be.
But, I'm glad that people are finally coming forward and saying, hey, this is what happened and this is not right and we should do something about it. So
absolutely.
Just absolutely love that they're coming out. They're not taking it anymore, and just, I mean, it's sad. It just really is sad. And this is all power. These people get power.
Really
they think they can do whatever the fuck they want and there's no consequences. And now they're realizing that there are consequences. I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. If you did something like that and you got fired, well, fuck you. That's your fault.
Exactly.
You're the ones that dumbass and did something you should not have done. Like, that's just, to me, that's just inexcusable. Like I said,
it is.
Somebody has 3 daughters. I'm probably I get a little more amped up about stuff like this.
Understandable.
But it's just, I mean, it's sad. I mean, these people deserve exactly what they're getting. Fire them, ban them. I don't give a fuck. If that's that person's, well, in almost every single case, it's their income. I was talking more about YouTubers and Twitch streamers. If you're abusing, your power and influence, then you deserve to get permanently banned. This ain't no 1 or 2 year slap on the wrist. No. You did some shit that you ain't supposed to do. You thought you could get away with it. You didn't, and you deserve to get banned forever. So, if you're one of those people, fuck you. Yep, I'm glad they're permanently banning you, not doing a 1 or 2 or 3 year. You took your power, you took your influence, you went way too far with it. And most of you guys and women, I'll put women in this category too, even though the majority of this is not women sexually assaulting men, but I'm sure there is a case or two here and there. But for all you people out there doing it, you're just pieces of shit, to be honest with you.
And you're getting your comeuppance now. Thank
and
goodness.
you see most of these people, these streamers and YouTubers. I'm not gonna lie, I think a lot of them are douchebags. I mean, I understand people like them. Why you like them, that's cool. I don't care. You're allowed to have your opinions. You're allowed to be entertained the way you want to be entertained. When I see them, I just think, man, these people just come off as douchebaggery. And
a lot of them do. And it seems like the bigger audience they get, the more they act like asshats. And part of it's, once you latch onto a shtick that becomes popular, you kind of keep amping it up and amping it up. And so I know it's a little off topic, but I'm with you. A lot of these people do come off as assholes. And I'm sure we do to some people as well that listen to our podcast.
Yep.
But, I'm not saying we're perfect or anything like that. But man, just sometimes when you already take that ego and then you throw in, these people go to these conventions, go to these events and throw around their fame. I mean, it's the same as any other celebrity using their fame to get what they want. And it sucks. Mm-hmm. It's terrible that it's happening in gaming, but I'm very glad that people are bringing awareness to it. That victims are speaking out about it. Bottom line, it's bad. Don't fucking do this shit.
Yeah, it's a lack of respect for women. In most circumstances, that's what it is, a lack of respect for women. And, it's never been acceptable. It's definitely not acceptable now, but, at least people are finally coming out. And at least we're getting to that point where, back in the days, women were afraid to come forward.
Absolutely.
And over the past 1 or 2 years, we've seen more and more come out. So good for all of them. And it's a negative thing.
It is.
But I don't want to say we're kind of moving in a positive direction, if you understand what I'm saying. We're finally starting to speak out and come forward and go after these people. So it's a negative thing that's happening, but we're moving in a positive direction and reacting from it and bringing it to light the way that we should have. So there's some positivity coming from the negativity.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. And hey, like we've said, if it makes the industry better in the long term, then good on everyone. We'll take this black eye if it makes things better for one of our favorite hobbies in the world.
Definitely.
So, oh man, glad we got that out there. It's an important topic to talk about.
It's an important topic that we need to talk about. You're right.
It really was. And it's a big elephant in the room for gaming right now. So I'm glad we took the time to talk about that. The other topic we kind of wanted to talk about last week and ran out of time had to do with an interview that an ex-Sony executive gave. His name was Sean Layden. I think I got that right. But he was talking about the development costs of AAA games. And we've known for a long time that the cost to make games is rising. I mean, it's spiraling kind of out of control. And he kind of basically came out and said it's unsustainable. I mean, you have every single generation, it costs more and more to develop these games, and yet the price has stayed mostly static at that $60 per copy for a really long time. So it was a really interesting interview. I only read the Cliff's Notes. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but just the budget of developing these games is not something that gets talked about a lot. You always hear about how many units you sold, did you make money, but you never really hear about the budget to make these games. It seems like with movies, you always hear it made $100 million, but it only cost $50 million to make. So boom, that's good. You almost never hear those numbers for video games. So right now, the Sean Layden guy said that AAA games are costing between $80 and $150 million to develop these games. And that is mind-blowing to me. That is more than a lot of movies cost to develop. And I did some quick back-of-the-napkin math, and at $60 a pop for an $80 million game, you have to sell over 1.3 million copies of your game just to break even. And that's at the low end. That's at the 80 million price. So it blows my mind just thinking about, is this a sustainable model for the video game industry? Do you think they can keep doing at what they're doing right now and last?
I hate to say this because we're just sitting here talking about all these game sales and how I look at a $15 game and I'm like, no, I'm not buying that. That's not a good sell. Yeah, I do think prices for games need to go up. And yes, I do hate saying that. I do love seeing games for $60, but come on, people. How many things have went up in price the last 10 years? Phones have went up in price. Computers went downhill a little bit, even though my last one didn't. But, for the most part, every single thing is going up in price. Yeah. And games should too.
It's inflation.
Because
it's
they're costing, inflation, man.
Yeah,
they're costing more to make, obviously. There's just more that goes into them. You have to have more people. Gamers want them to look better. And so, a lot of the gaming industry is losing money. So, to me, it's pretty simple. Yeah, I think the cost needs to rise because, it needs to be proportional, to how much it really costs to make the game. If you're taking a loss for so long, then what's the incentive or the motivation to make games? And if it continues in this trend, we're going to, we're seeing a lot of developers come in, especially a lot of indie developers, but if they're not making money, they're going to drop off. As the cost of to make games goes up, you're going to see more and more drop off if we keep it at the same price point. So definitely increase it. my thinking is around like, just not go too hard. I think $80, like, $20 jump.
Yeah.
Some people might only want to see a 10. I'm okay with a 20, but definitely think they need to go up because every other single thing, like a piece of technology, like I like to use phones as the best examples.
Oh yeah.
iPhones are like fucking $1,000 now. Like they're not cheap. So, yes, they need to go up. So what are kind of your opinions on it?
I'm with you. I think the price needs to go up, and I don't care if they like do it gradually, like, hey, $5 a year for the next couple of years or something, instead of one big jump all at once. Yeah. But I mean, to me, it's just that this trend is why we now have to deal with some things that people consider the darker side or the more annoying parts of video games. Your microtransactions, your loot boxes. People have been railing against those since they came out. But guess what? If these developers are spending so much money to make games, they can't rely on just those initial sales alone to get their money back. I mean, they have to put in some other kind of revenue streams to recoup and keep making their money off these games if the price stays the same. So for me, I hate microtransactions. I hate loot boxes. Actually, microtransactions I'm fine with if it's just cosmetic stuff that doesn't affect like the actual gameplay or doesn't.
What are loot boxes exactly?
So loot boxes, they're like you can basically buy. It's basically a roulette. Or it's a roll of it's a crapshoot. You basically. I know I just use like 3 different gambling analogies. Yeah. But it's really just this concept where you buy a mystery box and you get various rewards out of it, but you don't know what your reward is going to be. No, in some countries have fought to have them classified as gambling, which will get then you're not gonna be able to sell your game to minors and things like that. Yeah. If you have these loot boxes in there, so it really was kind of one of those. It was the same concept as walking into a casino and pulling a slot machine. And, you're going to get crap a couple times, but then that one time you win, you're going to throw more money in there and get more loot boxes. So EA was very notorious for this. I think it was Star Wars Battlefront 2 got really a lot of horrible publicity for it when it first came out. And it seems like people are getting away from that because some of these countries are starting to fight to call it gambling and get it out of games. So but it's also given rise to kind of this games as a service. And you see this with, your Fortnites, your Destiny, The Division. I know I'm forgetting a couple other big ones. Rainbow Six Siege, where they sell like season passes and battle passes that like every, maybe a season lasts a month, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and you earn rewards that you get to keep if you paid for the season pass. And then once the season's over, you get to keep all those rewards. And if you didn't buy the season pass, you don't get to keep them. So it's just other ways for these companies. I'm not a big fan of those kind of games, by the way. They're just not for me. I kind of call them looter shooters. I feel like they're more based on getting items and not having a good, strong story. So for me, I'm not a big fan. But that's what this rise in development costs has led to. These developers need to make money somehow. And for me, I would be fine with a game being shorter. And still, I like a good 8 to 10 hour game sometimes. We've talked about this before. A nice, compact, great experience that, something like that's going to cost a little less probably to make than The Witcher 3. Or, that this is massive open world that you're going to spend hundreds of hours in. So to me, I think, I would be fine with companies honestly dialing back their scope of their games sometimes. And I know a lot of gamers out there want more. If people
but they want to fucking pay for it though. That's the problem. They want to sit there, they want to bitch for more, but you're going to raise the price of games $5?
Yep.
So, you know how they are. I mean, like I said, I love you gamers, but damn, some of y'all really, as we talked about cheap we are in this episode, but some of you all like are really, really cheap and you just bitch way too much about the prices, but go ahead.
I'm with you there. So like I'm with you. I think a little increase in price makes sense, especially now, every game's got 4K art assets now. You've got voice acting costs money. I mean, it's just, raise the price. I'm okay with it. We're let's be honest, we're adults. We make good money. We can handle a $5, $10, $15, $20 price increase on games. Even though we just talked about the difference between $12.
Yeah, but we're not going to buy them until they're on sale, though.
Exactly.
If a game goes at $8, I'm going to wait till that goes on sale. No, I will. If it's a good game, like I will buy it. But kind of speaking like of these interviews with industry people. The Nintendo president, I'm not even going to try to say his name. Y'all can look it up if you want to.
Yeah.
Recently spoke at a shareholder meeting about kind of just what's going on with Nintendo and everything during the COVID-19 pandemic. And kind of just like he really said some interesting things. Red, I'm going to kind of let you go on into it because you're the one that brought it up. But kind of like, what did you get and take away from that shareholder meeting?
Well, my most exciting takeaway, first and foremost, is he said that the production of Nintendo Switches has basically recovered from the COVID shortage. Obviously, as anyone who's tried to find a Switch in the last, 5 months can tell you, they've been almost impossible to find without having to pay ridiculous prices from secondhand resellers. So to me, that was my favorite takeaway. I mean, I already have a Switch, so I'm good with it. But I know my girlfriend's been looking for one for her kid for a while. And I was like, girl, it might be like Christmas time before you're able to find him one.
Yep.
So it was like she was hoping for his birthday. That's probably not going to happen. So anyway, that was my biggest takeaway, is that he did reassure that, the production has stepped back up and they should be back on shelves. And one thing that I found was interesting, though, apparently some of the shareholders kind of pushed back a little bit and were like, this was the perfect, demand was so high. Like, this was the perfect time to really take advantage of it and get more product out there on the shelves. And it's like, hey, when factories are shut down and the distribution chains are shut down, there's only so much you can do. So I get why they've been hard to get your hands on. I mean, it's just the combination of them being in such demand and then the manufacturing being shut down for a little while. I mean, it's simple supply and demand. I mean, I'm no econ major, but I at least understand that part of it.
Yep.
So, but they were also really wanting Nintendo, the shareholders that is, were really wanting Nintendo to try to do something about these secondhand sales. It was kind of reassuring for me to hear, because you would think the company would be like, oh, I don't care who bought it the first time, we got our money.
Yeah,
that's the important
exactly.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they actually care about the fact that fans who really want their product are getting price gouged and are getting just destroyed.
I feel like Nintendo's always cared more about the gamers than PlayStation and Xbox. And that's not really bashing PlayStation or Xbox.
Oh, no,
that's
not
just kind of saying like Nintendo is like the Chick-fil-A of fast food. They care a little bit more for you and everything. But kind of, I don't know what you were going to say, but there's kind of something that I want to talk about, so I'm going to kind of interrupt you, I guess.
No, it's fine. Go ahead. I've been talking for a while.
And I know I wanted to talk about it because I know you've not had this issue, but it's at the shareholder meeting, they also kind of brought this Joy-Con drift issue. I believe the president apologized for it or something like that.
He did.
I actually have had this happen to me where I don't know exactly what issues people are having, but I'm guessing, because I'm not read into this, but I'm guessing it's the same issue I had, where just like this camera, it just starts moving for no reason. Is that
Absolutely.
What it is? Okay. And
it's like you're not touching the joystick, but the game thinks you're touching the joystick.
Like I said, I hadn't looked into it, but I pretty much was able to see a headline and kind of know what they were talking about. And this happened to me. Like, my joystick kind of started moving around a little bit. I was like, I mean, I just went out and bought another controller. Like, I'm as I get older and have kids and have less time in my life, I'm like a convenience guy. Like, there's an amount of money that I'm willing to sacrifice if I just get things done quicker.
Right.
And so me, I was like, you know what? It's broke. I'm just going to buy a new one. I'm not going to go out there and worry about, going through the warranty program, sending it off, waiting 3 weeks for it to come back. Like, I want to play the game now. I'm not going to wait 3 weeks. So I just went out, I bought a new one. But even though it hasn't happened to you, kind of what are your opinions on it? And like, how would you go about it if you did have that issue?
Well, first and foremost, it sucks that it's even an issue to begin with. Like, quality control should have caught this. It should have been fixed before these things ever hit the market. But I know it's not a perfect world. It probably takes a lot of usage for that problem to pop up. Or at least I assume so.
See, I disagree with that point, because like, you can do like a bunch of testing, but you really don't know how things are going to work and what if issues are going to happen until it gets out to the mass population.
Yeah,
and this is why we see this with phones and everything, like iPhones. You put them out, there's bugs and issues that need to be fixed right away. And people are like, how could you not catch this in testing? Like, you can't.
You can't test everything.
Like, you got a bunch of different people, like, until you get out to the mass population and they're using this device in a bunch of different ways, you're just not going to find all the issues. So this Joy-Con drift thing, like, I disagree. Like, I think you could have done a numerous amount of testing and still not found the issue, but go ahead.
But regardless, like, I am glad, like, people brought a class action lawsuit against Nintendo that's ongoing, and that's why the president, Shuntaro Furukawa, I'm going to try to say it. So
Yeah.
that's the president. I could have been dead wrong on that. I apologize. But, you know, he couldn't speak too much on it because the lawsuit is still going on. And of course, lawyers aren't going to let you talk about it. But I am glad after the lawsuit was brought against Nintendo, they did start replacing controllers for free. If you send yours in, you fill out the form online, they will replace it for free. But
hold on a second. What was the lawsuit about? Like, who filed it?
I think it was a bunch of consumers, because Nintendo like refused to even acknowledge it for the longest time. So a bunch of gamers got together and hired some lawyers and basically made it a class
a lot more than $80. But
oh yeah, and I'm not sure what they're wanting. Like, unless everyone who bought a Switch gets it's like, I remember when Blockbuster got a bit, or not Blockbuster, Ticketmaster had a huge class action lawsuit because of all the bullshit fees they charge when you buy a ticket through them. Yeah. And like one day I randomly got a check in the mail for like $4.
Yeah, like that wasn't worth it.
I'm like, what the hell? When you have millions of users, any reward is going to get divided up to where your cut of the pie is so tiny that it's almost irrelevant. So I kind of had to, laugh about it, but it did at least force Nintendo to acknowledge that there was a problem, and they started replacing controllers for free if you just fill out the form, instead of if it's out of warranty, sorry, you're fucked. That's what I ran into with the old red ring of death on the Xbox 360.
Yep, everybody did.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate. Like you said, I've never experienced it. But then again, did yours happen to your Pro Controller or the actual Joy-Cons?
It happened to the Joy-Con. I never had an issue at all with my Pro Controller.
Oh, I love
And from
that
what I've
Pro
seen of this, I think it's only been for the Joy-Con.
I think so,
I've not
too.
seen anything on the Pro Controller, but yeah, I had the issue. But like I said, like this lawsuit, I mean, I guess good for you, but like this seems like a lot of time and effort just to.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Nintendo's not acknowledging it. Like, sometimes when you make mistakes, you're like, I didn't make a mistake. This is perfect. Yep. You're using it wrong. We all do that. We all talk like that. Well, I'm not going to say all of us, but a lot of us
do.
Talk like that. So I don't know. The lawsuit kind of just to get it replaced for free. Whatever.
Yeah.
I got better things to do with my time, but I guess I'm glad somebody did it and they're getting what they want to out of it. But kind of, speaking of Nintendo, like they're responsible for kind of some of the most iconic video game characters of all time. And recently, Red, you saw this on Twitter, and you kind of talked to me about it.
Yeah.
There was a question just, who would be your Mount Rushmore of video game characters? So I want those to you. Who would be on your Mount Rushmore?
So when I think the Mount Rushmore of video game characters, I think who are some of the longest lasting, most influential, and the ones that everyone, like, they've transcended video games and become like pop culture figures. So for me, that starts with Mario. I mean, Mario has been there since the beginning, almost the beginning of home consoles. Mario games have come out like clockwork. They've always been super high quality.
Like clockwork my ass. They have not come out like not anymore at least. Like I'm just sitting here waiting for a damn 2D game and they still can't release one.
Hey, you got the Wii U port to Switch. Come on, you got
give
one.
me a break, man.
So anyway, but Mario's, the mascot of probably the most well-known video game company in the world. So I think Mario's got to go, on that Mount Rushmore. For me, Pikachu, of all characters, I think belongs on there. The Pokemon craze that started, it was the original Game Boy, I think, that had Pokemon Red and Blue at the very beginning. And Pikachu was kind of the face of that, and it's launched video games, obviously, but it's launched TV shows, movies. So I think you have to have a Pokemon representative, and Pikachu was the one that was like their face at the very beginning. So Pikachu goes on there for me. Lara Croft, and I think this is a bit of an unusual one, but to me, she put Sony on the map as a video game company. Yeah. Back when Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic, Sony went with an edgier, and of course, kind of back in hindsight, a little, kind of a sexist depiction, but yeah. But it was more of an adult oriented, audience, and it really helped put Sony on the map. And Tomb Raider games have survived all the way. I mean, like we said, the last one, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, just came out a year or two ago, so she's obviously had the longevity. The last one for me is Ryu from Street Fighter, and I put him there. I think he's the most iconic Street Fighter character. But he's also like Street Fighter put, esports on the map when back then it was just kids fighting each other in the arcades, and then that turned into fighting game tournaments. And I think that was the natural evolution to the esports scene you see today. I don't think it would be there without Street Fighter, and I don't think Street Fighter would be as popular, without its main character, Ryu, because you always hear Shoryuken, it's like an iconic thing. So those would be my 4: Mario, Lara Croft, Pikachu, and Ryu. How about you? Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore?
See, now you did something like you put who actually deserved it. I put who I wanted. So I kind of went a different direction with you.
I about spit out my beer there.
Okay, Mario. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one. Then my next one was Link from The Legend of Zelda, which I was shocked that you didn't have that listed. Now I understand why you didn't have that listed, because I was like, Pikachu, he doesn't even play Pokemon. Yeah. Why the hell does he have him on there? And then your Ryu, I had no idea where you're going with that one.
I don't really play Street Fighter either. So
so I'm okay. And if that's your opinion on that one, okay, that's fine.
Oh,
that's fine. I respect your opinion. But, Mario, Link, I put Master Chief up there. I was kind of back and forth, but played all the Halo games, really liked them. I do think Master Chief, I think he can be argued, but I definitely think he can be in the conversation. So I put him on there. And then my last one was Nathan Drake from the Uncharted franchise. And to me, I don't think Nathan Drake is a huge character like in video gaming. In the Uncharted games just started coming out on the PlayStation 3. So Nathan Drake really hasn't been in the picture for that long, but those 4 games and his character, I really enjoy it. I really enjoyed that character. So when you're asking me what's your Mount Rushmore, I'm kind of thinking, okay, what are the characters, one, that have kind of been here the longest, or 2, which ones did you enjoy playing the most? And I think
you there.
For the first part, it's Mario and Link. They've been there forever. They're iconic. Yeah. And then for Master Chief and Nathan Drake, those are the just characters that I really like to play. But some of the other ones that I thought of that really didn't make my Mount Rushmore, and you can kind of go into this if you had some other that maybe didn't make it. Honorable mention. I guess what we're talking about here is just fucking honorable mention.
Honorable mentions, yep.
I don't know why I had to make it so complicated, but Kratos from God of War, even though I've only played one game, there's 4 of them, and he is very legendary.
Yep.
Sonic, obviously. Pac-Man, obviously. Mega Man, duh. And then Donkey Kong. Like you say, you're seeing a lot of Nintendo characters come into play here because
they've been around since freaking the 80s.
Yeah, the 80s. So I think those are a lot of the characters that people think about. But did you have any other maybe that were honorable mention for you that did not make your Mount Rushmore?
I definitely agreed, Sonic, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. I mean, hell, Donkey Kong was there at the very beginning with Mario, back when he was just Jumpman. So, but for me, a couple of the other ones that really popped out were a Doom guy, the Space Marine from Doom, because, that's what put first-person shooters on the map. The series has enjoyed a great resurgence here in the last 5 years. So Doom guy is one of the more iconic ones for me. Samus, of course, from the Metroid series, just because she was it shocked everyone when they found out it was a female protagonist, and that blew everyone's mind at the time. And it was so rare in video games at the time. Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series, he's been around since the original Metal Gear back on NES. And then Sub-Zero, because I had to get a Mortal Kombat representative in there, because Mortal Kombat has been pretty culturally relevant. Because I mean,
over that was Scorpion though.
I went back and forth on those two. I honestly did, because you got Get Over Here, but Sub-Zero freezing people. I mean, so one of those two would also be there. What I loved about this whole conversation, though, was you're right, Mount Rushmore could mean a lot of different things. For me, I went with the influence, the history, all that. And were you, like I said, with a couple of years, you just went, who are your favorite ones to play? So I really liked having a bit of a different perspective going into that. So I'd like having that discussion. But unfortunately, I think we're about out of time this week. Once again, we had a topic we didn't get to talk about, the Halo live action show. But how about you go ahead and start wrapping it up for us?
Yeah, and you can find all these links in the description. And I don't know if you said it or not, Red, but we probably will talk about the Halo thing on the next episode. But anyways, like I said, all the links are in the description for these things. You can support us on Patreon or PayPal. Patreon's like a monthly thing, kind of where you get some benefits. PayPal, we just put that there in case you want to say, hey, here's $1 or $2, kind of a one-off. You have that option. If you can't support us financially, you can always leave a review and a rating. Those greatly help us out.
5 stars only, baby. 5 stars only.
Yeah, 5 stars only. Yeah. It's very easy to just either click that 5-star button or lie if you don't like us and click that 5-star button. But what those two things do, we really don't talk about this. It helps with SEO. If you get reviews, if you get ratings, it helps with your ranking when people search for a particular term. So that's why we say those always help. And then we also have merchandise on both our websites, Two Guys Playing Zelda, and TGPZ Gaming, and we may earn a commission if you go through our links. And Red, you kind of want to talk about our Facebook, YouTube, Discord, and social media?
Yep, absolutely. We have two groups out there on Facebook. We have Gaming Realm, where we talk about all different types of video games, of course, and we have Zelda Realm, where we specifically focus on Zelda. On YouTube, we've got Two Guys Playing Zelda, and we've got TGPZ Gaming, so go check them out. We have a Discord server where we talk about everything. We've got channels on there for Nintendo, Sony, PlayStation. Sony is PlayStation. Jesus, Microsoft, booze, sports, everything. Just we love to chatting on there with other gamers. We've met a lot of cool people online through Discord, so come join the conversation. And then we're also on social media. We're out there on Twitter. We're out there on Instagram. We're out there on Facebook, like we mentioned. So go check us out, and everyone continue staying safe as we see this spike in COVID. Stay indoors, keep on gaming, and we'll see you next week.